Hey everyone, it's Kat here from Knit Kat Paddywhack. I am really excited to make this video for you guys today. It wasn't on my schedule to make this, but something really exciting has happened and I am just really looking forward to showing you. So the first exciting thing is that I am actually filming for the first time in our new craft room / study that my husband has just finished building himself, and it is amazing. It is way nicer than our actual house. It's got double glazed windows, it's fully insulated including the roof, and it's just beautiful. And so that is related to my story. So you will have seen, if you watched my last video, that it was my birthday recently. I'm actually filming this the day after my birthday. So the day before my birthday was the day that my husband finished this shed, and he built it, and I was here when he was like, I'm finished, and I started chatting about like, oh, now I've got space to get a spinning wheel. So most of you wouldn't know unless you've been reading my blog for like 8 years, but I am a self-taught hand spinner. I'm primarily a knitter, but I did take up hand spinning for a couple of years. I remember I found my spinning wheel on Gumtree while I was in my lab conducting my research for my first degree. And I shared a lab with another girl who knitted, so we used to knit together. It was good fun. So that was in 2011 that I started spinning, and so I did it for a couple of years, but 2013 I moved to Tasmania to do another degree, and I was moving into student accommodation. It wasn't practical for me to bring my spinning gear, so I pretty much gave up the craft. I would spin when I went home to see my parents, but that was only a couple of times a year. And I have always wanted to take it up again. My husband is so supportive of my crafts, and he's always wanted to see me have the space to do that. Our place that we live in is pretty small, and since we got married and I moved in, we've had 2 kids, so it's even smaller. So it wasn't really practical to hand spin, and there's a little bit of mess that goes on with hand spinning too. So anyway, so we were talking about me getting a spinning wheel, and there was space for it, and I said it's probably not practical for me to go and get my spinning wheel from Adelaide. So for those of you who don't know Australian geography, Adelaide is in the middle of the bottom of the mainland of Australia, and it is, so then to get to Melbourne is about an 8 hours drive. You catch the ferry, which takes another 8 hours to Tasmania, and then you drive for another 3 hours to get to where I live. So it wouldn't be worth it really to get my spinning wheel. But we were chatting about it the day before my birthday. That night, so the night before my birthday, my sister-in-law, who is a knitter herself, sent me a message saying, my friend is doing a clear out and she wants to give away this spinning wheel. And I was so excited, and I said yes, obviously, and my sister-in-law said, you can pick it up tomorrow, which was my birthday. My 30th birthday as well. And so after church we went and got the wheel. My sister-in-law's friend didn't even live too far away from us, and it's beautiful. It needs a bit of work, but I will show it to you now, and I will show you what work needs to be done to it. So here is my wheel. I'm really happy with it. As you can see, it's an upright. This is different to the wheel that I used back in Adelaide. I had an Ashford traditional back home, so there was a little bit of experimenting going on last night, just to see how it was similar and how it was different to what I'm used to. This is the second wheel ever that I've spun on. I only ever spun on my first wheel before playing around with this one last night. So as you can see, I have been having a go with a bit of alpaca, and that's all good. It came without a drive belt, so I added this myself. It's just normal cotton string And my Ashford Traditional had like a rubber or polyurethane drive band. It was a single drive. So I don't know, you spinning experts out there can tell me if I should have some special kind of cotton string for a drive band, or if that will suffice, because it's working fine for me, so I think I'll probably keep it. So I think it's beautiful, it's functional. There are a couple of little areas of wear and tear and damage. So there's some superficial things, like we've got some water stains down here and just some other staining. I don't know what that is, probably water as well. Little pit marks there. I don't know. I like to think it was a cat, but I'm not sure what did that. Maybe an insect, and also some scratches down here. And that's it for the superficial stuff. There is a little bit of tarnishing, maybe rusting on the bobbins. So we've got this one here that's untouched. This one I actually cleaned with baking soda last night. I left baking soda on it overnight and then wiped it off, and it made a pretty big difference. It feels way smoother and it looks, I think, noticeably different. So we got the clean one here versus the dirty one here. So I think it looks noticeably different, and it certainly feels different. And the other bobbin also has that damage to it. The biggest bit of damage is on the flyer. So this is the real kind of functional impediment here, is that the flyer is quite rusted, and it means that these sliding hooks don't really slide. So it's going to make it hard for me to fill this bobbin with the alpaca that I was playing around with. So that is going to be my first priority. There is also these little maidens here are loose, and I think they have previously been glued. So I will add a little bit of wood glue to them, and just to secure them because they don't need to move. Other than that, yeah, my main priority is to get rid of the rust on there. So what I'm going to do is take you through a little bit of my mini restoration process. So my aim is to put some baking soda on this guy. I'm going to see if that works. If it doesn't, I might have to do something harsher like steel wool or something to get the rust off. But I'll try with the baking soda overnight to first off. And I will maybe try and wipe off some of this damage, but I've decided not to restain it for now, just because that's a lot of effort and I want to kind of jump into it straight away. So one day maybe I will restain this and get it looking to its former self, but for now I'm just going to work on this and add a little bit of glue to the maidens, and maybe like see if I can wipe off any of that stuff, and also put some baking soda on the bobbin, this bobbin here. This one here will have to wait. So to begin with, I'm just taking the flyer off. Take the bobbin out as well so that I can clean the flyer. And I did notice at this point that the reason why it was rusting was because the flyer was actually painted a kind of a gold colour, but I guess where the sliding parts were, the paint came off. So then the metal was exposed and then it was able to rust. So we've got this little whirl here. It's a bit rusted too, and there's a pretty big difference once I've cleaned that. So I'm trying with just some baking soda and water paste. Toothbrush didn't work. I just used my hands. On the flyer there where the bobbin goes, and this central bit is probably less important than the arms of the flyer, but there was some rust on there as well, so I figured I may as well clean that off. Now here's the whirl here, that little moving part, I don't know what it's called, quite rusted, so I've just pretty carefully putting some baking soda around that, trying not to get it on the wood. And so those things are going to sit overnight. Now we're just going to do the bobbin in the same way. I don't know how important it is for functionally to do that, but I think that it will probably keep the yarn clean. And then all the hooks and the little screws that go in as well, give them a soak. So the next thing for me to do was to take the maidens off and add a bit of glue. And stick them back on. So once that's all cleaned off, that part of the process is done. I can just let that dry. Now I've grabbed a barbecue wipe, which worked really well to clean the wood. It got a lot of dust off. As you can see there, pretty dirty once I was finished. And as you can see where the water stain used to be, that wood is now really clean, which surprised me and was really nice. And so it's the next day now. I'm just wiping all the baking soda off of the metal parts. And you can see it makes a big difference. It cleaned a lot of the dirt off of that bobbin. And having a go with the flyer arms there. I did find though that I needed to bust out the steel wool to get that really clean and smooth. So just grabbing a toothbrush for the little parts there, the little finer parts. And here's my steel wool. So this is wet steel wool which has soap embedded in it. And I was just scrubbing fairly gently just to get the rust off of that flyer, trying to preserve any of the paint that was left on there, although there wasn't really any on that part of the arm. Let's see our flyer once I've cleaned it all off. Works great now with the sliders. And here's that rusty whirl, and that's the after shot. You can see the huge difference getting that rust off. And finally, my wheel is up to scratch. I can spin and I can use those sliding hooks on my flyer, and it's working really well for me. And one thing that I didn't film was that I also added some lubricant to all the moving parts to make sure everything ran really smoothly. Thank you so much everyone for watching my little restoration of my spinning wheel. I hope that it was interesting for some of you. If you did find it interesting, please subscribe to this channel and hit the like button for this video. Thanks, bye!